reached halftime, which is lunch. However, as sports, there's never a break in the action, and we're fortunate to have the team from Suite here. Andrew Klein, VP NFT and Metaverse Brand Experience. He's going to join us now for a breakout session during lunch, which is entitled Building an NFT Playbook for Brands.
Hello.
This is the breakout session?
Remember, his panel mics one.
We're going to load up some slideware. Welcome to the breakout session.
Yeah, the other.
See if anybody I know has been running around. Busy morning. Hey guys, hey everybody, welcome to the breakout. Let's talk about NFTs and brands. Got the slides? Whenever you wish. You could just start doing intros until they pop up. Very nice to meet you. We are Team Suite. Give you a little bit of a background. We are a NFT Marketplace, and we're pretty unique in the space. We really help brands get into the NFT space, and more importantly, help their fans, their consumers, and their audiences connect with them through NFTs. But we do something that's pretty sweet. We allow people to collect those very easily. So we have a really awesome process that's kind of like a Web 2 process, where you can log in the same way you've logged in with applications over the last, or any website over the last 10 years, using your phone number and email or a social connect, and we'll provide you with a wallet to start collecting. And it's something that we do that's like literally 3 steps compared to your usual 50-step process of setting up a MetaMask, getting funding, getting Coinbase, or whatever you choose to buy your funds, and then transferring them, and gas fees and all that stuff. So it's a really incredible company, and we're excited to talk to you today. We have a little bit of everybody. I'll do a round of introductions. I'll just start with myself. I am Andrew Klein. I'm the VP of NFT and Metaverse Brand Experience. I have 10 years of experience working with brands in the emerging technology space, really in marketing. Fell in love with Web3 and NFTs, and now it's my dream to bring 99% of the global population into it using Suite. Steve, you want to take it next?
Hello, everyone. It's good mic technique. My name is Steve Wall. I'm on the product team at Suite, focusing on strategy. What I love about my role at Suite and being here at a place like this is that the on-ramp is so easy. We get to be really creative in how we allow people to touch the brands in ways that they're used to, and also create ways that they're not used to yet that might be more fun than they had in the past. So.
Hey everyone, great to be here. My name is Brett Kabilka. I am a senior PM at Suite, and I'm in charge of building some of our immersive experiences. So my background is in AR, VR, building virtual reality experiences, and thinking about how we bring that to the total brand experience and, of course, to end users. So super excited to be here.
Hey everybody, excited to be here. My name is Caleb West. I'm the head of design at Suite. So what's interesting about us is that we have 2 different buckets. We have UX and UI design, and then we have actual NFT design. So we're building a lot of experiences out, white labeled, and having experiences that we can build for the brands themselves, and then it can actually bridge to our own marketplace. So we get to cover a lot of really fun things on both sides. UI, UX, and then 3D design and 2D design. We've got a lot of generative projects, we've got a lot of 3D projects, and like some of the others have been saying, one thing that we try to do is that we try to create an actual experience for the user, that they can have an engaged experience with their brand instead of just, where some of the times people are just collecting artwork. We're making an experience on why they're collecting the artwork, how they can use the artwork, how they can interact with other collectors, and creating that environment so that they can do that.
He doesn't give himself credit, but he's one of the most prominent NFT artists of our time. He's creating a lot of incredible NFTs that are touching many people's lives and many brands. And he's an incredible artist. So he doesn't.
I wouldn't say that, but thank you very much.
Get the full credit, but him and his team are creating some of those beautiful NFTs out there.
Thanks, Andrew.
And website experiences too.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karam Aluwalia, and I work in digital marketing. I focus on customer journeys because they work. I come from an ed tech startup where we launched a whole bunch of NFTs and failed miserably. And then thankfully, I connected with Andrew, and he was like, let me show you how it's done. And that's why I'm here. And we're here to show you how it's done and give you guys some 101 best practices. Right, Jason?
Correct. Sorry, we had some issues with the presentation, but I think we're good. Yeah. So, and I'm Jason Runyon. I head up marketing, and maybe we should get this going.
Let's get it.
I was told
People
we're on
are
a tight
excited to learn.
timeline. So, there's an influx of brands and sports coming into this space. I'm not telling anybody something you don't know, right? Everybody's doing it, right? And so what the whole team has kind of been telling you a little bit about Suite, right? And so what happens at Suite is brands come to us, and all these brands come to us like other brands do, and they say, hey, we've heard about NFTs, we want to get into this space, right? And so there's this influx of brands, 100-year-old brands like Macy's, and then some newer brands too. And so they come to us and they want to get into the NFT space, and they're looking for help. And last year it was, this NFT thing is really exciting. How do we get in there, right? And then this year it's a little bit more. We've heard about Web3. We want to get into Web3. How do we get into Web3? And increasingly, you're seeing in the press various brands, various celebrities all entering into the Web3 space. And so, how can we create and execute an NFT program that this is what brands want to know? How do we do something that's true to our brand, right? How do we do something that resonates with our audience, our fans, our customers, our clients, right? And then how do we do something that's authentic in the space, which we're going to be talking about? Like, how do we actually put something out there that isn't going to get crapped on? Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. It's not going to be. We don't do rug pulls, okay?
Yeah.
Rug pulls.
And so basically, this breakout session is really for brands, for teams, for leagues, for creators who want to just to kind of help you think through what are some of the ways, at least what we've found is a successful recipe for kind of thinking through an NFT project. And we're going to start with Andrew.
Awesome. So how do we get your brand into NFT space? Is really important to ask yourselves, why do you want to be there, right? And there's, for myself, I saw this opportunity as a digital marketer of how important and awesome this technology, blockchain and NFTs and wallets can be for brands. As if you're in digital marketing or if you have a brand that you're building, everyone's attuned to their phones. Our normal audiences today, or the mass audiences for most of us that we're trying to reach, are millennials and younger Gen Z audiences who are digital natives, right? They're extremely savvy. They live and breathe these spaces, and now there's an opportunity to engage them. And when you look at our, what we've been doing from a Web 2 digital marketing space, a lot of that was, throwing up pre-roll or, making video content and getting impressions, just getting people to look at this. But now there's an opportunity to use NFTs as a way to create a digital brand experience that could be so much more. It can be the ability to create community with your audiences, to create and find new and true fans of your audience, and then even get them to participate. And that participation can be, watching content, engaging with your community, attending events, but it could also be participating in shopping with your brand, buying products, and using NFTs in this new way to connect with them. So we work with tons, there's many brands in the space. Almost all of them are thinking about how do we enter this in an authentic way? Because I think when you've seen brands activate over the last year, some have been off the mark where, people, if you're an NFT enthusiast like me, or you're very involved, it's like a money grab. They're just coming out here, they're going to do a check the box, and then they're going to dip in and dip out. That is absolutely what we don't want to do. And we don't want to do that because that's not what the Web3 community wants. So it becomes very important to understand audiences, right? That's what Karam does so well, is understand audience insights. Who are they? What do they want? What do they want from our brands? And how can we give that to them with what we have, what we can provide with? And if you've been an NFT collector yourself, it's been pretty wild, to think of like, what are these blue chip NFT brands? You have, I'm very proud of being a CloneX holder from Artifact, but CloneX is, I would consider an Artifact a blue chip NFT brand. They had a lot of help when they got acquired by Nike, but even before that, they were pretty significant. But of course, you could look at CryptoPunk and you could look at Bored Ape. And they're providing this really unique access and different types of engagement models to engage a brand new community and start using those funds to build. But what's interesting with Suite and what we're doing is taking legacy brands, traditional brands who have been here for some over 100 years and looking to evolve and come on this journey of what is this, linear evolution of the internet experience. Web 1, Web 2, and now we're very much straddling Web 3. And we want to bring consumers and these brands along for the ride in those meaningful ways to create these access experiences for them. So you have to kind of look inside yourself as a brand and say, well, what can we do that maybe we can't do with Web 2, right? Like there's plenty of memberships and loyalty programs, but this is a completely new one. And for some brands, it's hard because technically you want some stuff, right? You want to have a Discord, and some brands don't have Discords or have people that can support those. You want to start building brand community. You want to start getting on Twitter. But to start all these things, you do want to have an NFT strategy, right? And so again, that comes back to not kind of coming in and dipping in to do a drop and leave. It's about how are you looking to have an extended journey, as if this is going to be how the internet works, and it is going to be how it works, for the next couple years to come, till we get to Web 4, Web 5, and so on. But this is that start of the journey, and what we try to do is think about how do we future-proof brands to talk with their audiences, bring them into this Web 3 space, and starting really with NFTs and how we could use that. So I'll give you a good example of something had a really fortunate experience to kind of live in both sides of this world. Prior to joining Suite, I was working at an agency called Spark Foundry. It's part of Publicis. It's a media agency. And one of my clients was Macy's. And after spending about 8 months really personally digging in the space, part of 200 plus maxed out Discord communities that I try to participate as much as I can, trying to understand what can we do for Macy's, who is a legacy retailer. For those who don't know, I'm sure if you're here in New York, you haven't missed it. But how do we bring them into this space in an authentic and meaningful way? And what we're not going to do is we're not just going to come in there and start selling stuff. We're actually going to do good. And so we wanted to take a step back and say, well, Macy's wants to do something really cool with NFTs for holiday. It's a hot topic, but how do we activate that? And I was able to find Suite as a marketplace, which was just one thing that was unique. We don't have to go too deep into that, but they made it easy for a normal Macy's audience member who is not a crypto NFT degen to participate, to actually come in and click a link and start getting NFTs and getting involved with this experience. And that was what the magical solution that Suite provides. But we worked with an artist named Reo, R-E-O, who is at the time was an up-and-coming NFT artist, so he was on the radar. He luckily was featured at Christie's later on, and he was a creative developer for these NFTs that we wanted to create, so we had a natural connection to that. We decided to mint on Polygon because we did want to make it transactionless as far as sending these tokens around if people wanted to trade them. We didn't expect that. We would give Ethereum NFTs to a grandma or a grandpa, wherever they might be, and say, okay, now go start trading them and good luck. We wanted them to have a comfortable experience with it and use Polygon as a way to not only allow them to send and move them around or buy and transact with them, but also to allow NFT collectors and enthusiasts like myself to say, hey, you know what? I got a whole wallet full of stuff. I would actually like to move this NFT into my own wallet and buy and trade it, if I want on OpenSea. And so it was a nice bridge of two audiences that we were able to engage. The normal Macy's audience, which is for them as a brand, the most critical, but also able to create a connected experience with the Web3 audience. And that was the ability to let them trade and participate and get really excited about the art and the fact that this was like a historic collectible. So we had a unique opportunity though, the Macy's Day Parade. So if you're not American, that is the second most watched televised event in America outside of the Super Bowl. And at that time, which is about around 8 to 9 a.m. Thanksgiving morning, your normal NFT degens like myself are sleeping from a late night hanging out and God knows what. But normal people were able to watch that with their families, normal audiences, and see Hoda and Samantha Guthrie right before Santa Claus comes out say, come collect your Macy's NFT. Just go to Macy's.com/NFT, and the first 9,500 people who get it. And 44 minutes later, they're gone, and it was really awesome. So when I said we don't do money grabs, we didn't want to be perceived as doing this. This is the holidays. We want to give back, and we did a cool thing to do that in kind of three ways. One, we were doing an auction, so there was about 9 days prior, there was an auction of limited editions that did generate a significant amount of money. So I think that helped in getting the excitement of like, oh, I want this for free because I can't afford a $100,000 NFT. That's fine. That's cool. I understood. But you could come in and click it, and many did, where they were able to claim their first NFT through Suite, through their easy, seamless process of signing up and claiming it. Now they were starting to get, users were starting to get bids and offers and selling their NFTs. Now we didn't take any royalty off that. We actually put in the smart contracts of all the NFTs a 10% secondary royalty that went to a Make-A-Wish Foundation wallet forever in perpetuity. So if these NFTs sell, 10% of that sale will go into a Make-A-Wish wallet that they could tap into and do what they need to do with for any of their charitable purposes. And I think up to this, at this time, we're over $1 million raised for Make-A-Wish, which is really pretty good. Thank you. Yes, it's a great thing. Now, that ability to start getting text messages from my friends who were showing me my uncle, my grandmother got offered this money. I'm like, great, that's the other win, right? Like somebody who was able to claim this NFT was just able to sell it, and maybe now they have some extra cash to spend for the holidays for themselves or for their loved ones. Other people got the gift of having really awesome art by Rayo. Other people are holding on to this, which they were smart to, because this week Macy's launched their own Discord, and they're using those NFTs to invite people to get another NFT that they're dropping, right? So they're creating now a very robust community using those tokens that came about, from Thanksgiving as Genesis tokens for their extended journey. And so all this together, we had a very successful program. It became an award-winning program that we're very proud of. It won like Best Digital Charitable Experience for the Halo Awards. It's certainly been recognized from a good use case of a brand coming in and making it very easy to get people to start collecting their NFTs in a meaningful way, and then extending that into like their overall marketing programs. So we're pretty proud of that, and happy to answer any questions if anybody has any about it.
Cool. And then just in terms of like, we kind of broke this out into a couple different things: ideation, experience, design, and then distribution and like activation. And so in terms of ideation and Web3 strategy, just a couple helpful questions. Again, this is called Building a Brand Playbook, but a couple helpful questions that we ask ourselves. What is your audience going, where is your audience going in the future? And how will Web3 impact that future? I mean, maybe you're talking to, maybe you're a brand and you look into the future and you're like, Web3 isn't necessarily a fit right now. Well, then maybe don't think about it. Or you can start taking like Web 2.5 steps, right? Web 2.75 steps towards there. And so the next one is, what steps can you take now to help you get to that future? Right? If you're saying we're a brand and this is where we want to get to, wearables in X. Well, how do you get there? And then refine what are brand authentic steps that you can take now to set a course for that future. Again, what Andrew was talking about is Macy's trying to do something very authentic in the space so that it didn't come across as a money grab, so that it didn't come across as unofficial, so that it didn't come across as a rug pull, right? And so they brought Make-A-Wish into it so they could engage people in authentic, real ways, and so that my mom could call me up and say, oh my gosh, I just got an NFT, what do I do now, right? Which actually happened. And then the next step is just thinking about design. So, do you need it? I'll give you this.
Yeah, so we approach this in a lot of ways. So what makes us a little bit unique is that we're not creating just one style of NFT. So a lot of times, we talk to the client. We're big on having creative direction before we go into something and trying to match the brand with what they think they should give as an artist. This comes down to whether we have the IP to use for the brand or whether we need to come up with a creative solution for them. So, we've had projects that are pretty on the nose with some basketball teams where we really need to think about what the collector might actually want if they're a collector of NBA and sports memorabilia in real life. And with that, what we have to do is we have to say, like, how can we make this cooler in digital than it actually is if somebody were to collect the real thing? What's the reason that you would want the digital item? And then, of course, we can tie utility to it and actually have physical items. But what makes that digital item a little more interesting in the digital realm? So we have had some challenges with some of these teams and some of these organizations where we have to say, we talk to the NBA. You can't use basketballs, you can't use team members, you can't use this, and you can't use that. It's an incredible list of what you can't use. So we've had some interesting strategies on what we've done. And for instance, we've worked with the Blackhawks, and we couldn't use almost anything. So we created our own versions of what could be Blackhawks characters. We included all kinds of different people, all kinds of genders, and all kinds of different people that everybody can connect to. And then we made pixel characters that were animated for that team. For the Knicks, we did things that are a little more tied into the metaverse realm. So we would have a Knicks fanny pack that has like glowing elements, or like your normal soda cup and popcorn bucket, but it's got LED elements that glow onto it. So this is your version of something that you would collect in real life. But also, here's the cool way of the reason that you might want to have the digital version. Should shoes fly? It should, what kind of things that you wish that you would have if you had any ability to make that item the way that you want. And then, we've had generative projects, where we've got to do, we've got to have like a baseline image that is approved by a company. So they can say, Old Navy can say, we do have the Magic the Dog mascot, and we know we can use that, so can we build a whole bunch of elements around that? So what we were able to do in that case is make Magic the Dog so interesting by working with generative artists so that we can supply thousands of NFTs around that Magic the Dog. And people get the surprise and delight of opening their NFT to not understand what they might get. We luckily, on our team, we have a lot of 3D resources. We've got a lot of 2D resources, so we have to make that decision when we're going into the project. But the biggest thing that we've been exploring lately is how can we imagine these NFTs not just only as single pieces of artwork that somebody might want to collect, but how they fit into a larger discussion of a world that we're building for collectors. We want to think about collectors as people who they just like a subject. They like a team. They don't have to love NFTs coming in. They don't have to be a crypto enthusiast. They can, and that helps. But if they want to come into the world and they want to just have a place where they can talk to other like-minded people, collect cool things, what we want to do is use these elements as a function that we can bring into this world and create basically a world that they can come into powered by the NFTs that we supply them so that they can customize their own experience and follow that team in a brand new way like they never have before. So we're helping these companies in a way by creating a whole new fan experience, that ways that they can engage with their customers like they never have before, ways that they can study how their fans actually interact with them, what things they're interested in, and we have the ability to adapt as we're going. So if companies want to explore certain things, they can talk to us and we can say, well, let's go down this lane and see how people react to this. So we do that in two ways. We have, and stop me if I'm going too long, but we do that in two ways. We have our marketplace that we're actually designing, and we're improving it every day to where we can actually just let companies come in and put things directly on our marketplace, and then we can have direct outlets or direct ways for people to scan a QR code in a different place and maybe bring up something directly onto our marketplace and collect it that way on our utility wallet. And then we have another way where we can actually build a UI experience for the company. So when we worked with McLaren, we built a whole UI system that people can come into, and we want people to come back to this. It's not come to the website, collect your thing, never come back again. We are creating a place where you can see what things you've collected, what things you need to collect, how close you are to your goals, and we're constantly creating UI elements and gamified elements to keep you interested in coming back in. When we exploded the McLaren car into a whole bunch of pieces and let McLaren Collectibles collect each 3D piece until they finally collected the full car, this was one of those examples. So we were able to provide a whole website that's powered by our marketplace on the back end, but has a whole McLaren skin. And for as much as their fans know, McLaren was able to create this amazing garage for people to build their own car. And then for McLaren, we can just make sure that we have all the marketplace figured out for them. And they love the fact that the process has been made so easy for their customers because they don't need to know about crypto. They don't need to have a wallet. They don't need to do anything. They just need to come in, sign up, and start collecting, and then we'll do the rest for them.
Say there's also, just keep in mind, obviously many of you do, but your brand IP, right? The art that you own, that you've created over time is very valuable and could be used as a way to bring that into the NFT space that is different. When we were working on Macy's, we had these, and we were in the creative process, it was like, oh, let's have the balloons all come down the actual route. Well, then we started thinking, well, you can't because there's a lot of imagery in those routes that are owned by other people, or the city of New York, or other things that we want to not get involved with. So it makes it super easy. There's no surprises with a legal issue because this is the blockchain, and you don't want to have to change things up down the road. So lean into what you own, and in most cases, you own a lot of great artifacts, like really cool content that you could use and repurpose in. We didn't use Snoopy balloons. We didn't use Minions. Anything that was owned by third parties, we stayed very clear away from, and only used, balloons that Macy's created over the last 95 years, and focused background rarity trait on Herald Square through the decades, because that is a building that they owned and made sense for us to connect it all together. So, do your inventory of the amazing IP that you own and look to leverage that to excite your fans.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because we put out officially licensed NFTs, right, programs, but inevitably you're in Discord and somebody's like Macy's Discord launches this week, and our Discord got flooded with people. Are you sure this is official? Are you sure this is Macy's? Why would Macy's have a Discord? And we're trying to explain, this is why Macy's would have a Discord, because they care about continuity, right? They don't want to just do a drop that happened around the parade last year and then not have anything, right? They were planning it, but you just got to wait. It's official, right? But it's interesting how quickly people jump on, is this official or is this not official? And then just to jump on what you were saying, in terms of design, what do you have access to for your project? Maybe you don't have every brand has artifacts, right? Looking back, there's a lot of brands right now looking into the catalog of what they have or what they don't have. And then how will you get creative given guardrails? Like to what Caleb was saying, there are guardrails up. If you're a team and the league won't let you do X or won't let you do Y, how do you get creative to go beyond that? Right, and say, we're going to invent IP. We're going to do something that's totally different. We're going to create a pixel project, right? And we're going to invent characters. And then maybe those characters will have life. And that's something that we talked to the Blackhawks about, is how does what we created have life beyond, into 2023 and 2024. And then quality over quantity, I'll skip to number 4. That's not a question, but it is to say that I think that the idea and what people are craving is quality design, quality creative, beyond just quantity, right? There's a lot of PFP projects out there that have a large quantity, but when you look at them, you're like, I don't want to own this. This is not good. All right, so the next thing we're moving on to quickly is utility to experience.
Yeah, kind of coming off of what you're saying about, like, I really hung on what you said about your mom called you and said, I got my first NFT, what do I do with it?
You got it.
Right? So, like, this, what do I do with it, can solve a lot of problems that at least I've seen on phone calls with some of our clients, where it's like, we can't use basketballs and we're the NBA. We can't use jerseys and it's the NBA, so we're going to sell this cardboard cup with a neon light. How do you get somebody to care about a cardboard cup? Well, there's design elements, right? You could do things that are better than in real life or more enhanced, right? You could do how I acquired it by being at the game and seeing the QR code on the Jumbotron and having somebody announce it, and I scanned it and I got it. No one else is going to have this. We're at those Knicks games and people were sending people to the games to get NFTs for them to bring home, right? And there's another angle, too, that can happen where we did this with some of our later programs, like with the Cavaliers, with their locker, where people can see their goals, they can see their collections building up, and we rewarded them along the way. So someone might not care about a soda cup, but if it's the 7th NFT that they needed from that collection to give them these awesome courtside appearance seats that the Cavs are giving, based on reaching that milestone, then I care a lot about that soda cup. You know what I mean? And we can do things with motivation and with creating rituals, like having a page that people want to come back to and visit every day and check in, and having numbers go up as you interact and as you participate more. This has nothing to do with having a crazy 3D dev department. This has nothing to do with what your brand is or what you can even use, but you can create these motivations because you've done the hard work and your brand is ubiquitous and omnipresent everywhere already. It has that trust.
Yeah, and I would just add on to that. Really, if you think about, I think this is the most beautiful thing about what we're doing at Suite is we're really building worlds for our brands and our clients, right? So if you think about sort of this Web 2.0 experience where users are visiting their favorite brand sites, and it's a very one-way relationship, right? It's all about consumerism, it's all about purchasing physical products. But in this Web3 space, what we're evolving and what we're pushing forward is building ecosystems based on the backs of these brands. So if you think about what that looks like, to help illustrate, really what it's about is think of NFTs as building blocks to that ecosystem. So no longer is it just about flipping some art, right? It's about how do those NFTs that are corresponding to that brand give utility back to users in a meaningful way. So just to paint an example of that, maybe there's something like an avatar NFT that users buy for the Knicks. You can then take that, and then that could be your digital identity across multiple metaverse properties. And that's what really we think about as threading the needle through all of these type of experiential brand touch points, and then thinking about how we build sort of a metaverse ecosystem, right? And Steve mentioned this as well, like one of the cool things that you get with NFTs, and it goes back to what I said about not a one-to-one or a one-way relationship. It's a two-way relationship now that's evolving, where if you are a token holder, right, you get access to all these different brand elements within that ecosystem. So now it's blending the physical with the digital, and you can now be a Knicks fan, and maybe you get season pass tickets, right? If you complete a whole set of NFTs, then you get access to in real world perks and other utility within the physical world. So it's evolving from being one-dimensional to, I would say, even like four-dimensional in that space.
Maybe 5-dimensional.
Maybe 5-dimensional. And one of the things that we're Steve and I really concentrate on, right, is, and he kind of alluded to this, is we want to build not just virtual reality experiences, right? It is very much going to be an evolution of this mixed reality component. So how do we bring users into maybe something as simple as a virtual experience where they can display their collection, right, for other users to come in and pretty much just signal and say, like, here's my collection, what do you think of this collection? But then users can have a meaningful interaction, not only with just other users, but also the brand, and showing and selling their NFTs in a really cool immersive experience. So it's about bringing utility users, about giving them a richer experience. And then how we also see that expanding, right, is perhaps you have your favorite NFT and you want to show that in the real world, right? So maybe there's like an augmented reality component where you can actually show that from your digital wallet. And that's really the core feature, I think, of what we think about when we build an ecosystem, is everything is based on the Suite wallet. So if you come in, and to Andrew outlined this beautifully, it's like, if you're not a Web3 native, cool, we can cover for that because we make it so easy for you to onboard and pull up that Suite utility through the Suite wallet. Once you're plugged in, then you have access to all these worlds, all these brands within the ecosystem, and then it just becomes about accessing and tapping into each of those experiential touch points.
The back and forth is what's nice, too, because the real world can funnel people back into their digital experience and identity, which can fold people back into journeys. In the real world, you can incentivize them to certain spaces. Like, every brand kind of gets to have their own white label passport of the world, and every time someone interacts with it, they're getting a stamp in the form of an NFT or in the form of an IRL t-shirt. Like, people aren't necessarily care if it's digital or IRL. It's like, it's part of that identity and that progression with your brand.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, last night at dinner, Andrew shows up with Atom Bomb Squad t-shirts. And I think I wanted those. Like, at that point, you want that T-shirt as much as you want the atom bomb itself, right? Like, you care about both, right? So that's a great point. I love it. Cool.
No. So this is a great example of what I mean about how we're giving users utility, right? So if you look at the screen, this is the Cavs locker, which token holders got access to for completing series. So you can actually decorate your own personal locker as a meaningful way of showing utility and actually showing to other users within the community of what your collection looks like, right? And this is very simple to implement. This is just a 2D representation of your NFTs. Now picture this in a 3-dimensional space, right? So you're taking this and expanding on that, where users can actually come in and have meaningful interactions, socializing, interacting, playing, all within a virtual environment where it's centered on all of that IP that the brand is working with us to actually get published. And this gives a richer, more intimate experience between user and brand.
What's cool with the sports stuff, the sports teams, is that they have a built-in seasonality as well. I mean, a lot of clothing companies too as well. But with the sports teams, so this experience on the right had the whole game schedule with the NFT drops. People could click to buy tickets to the games that were direct links right to Ticketmaster, where they can get the tickets to that game to make sure they were on that day to get that limited reward. And as soon as they did, it populated up in the locker. And there's a little progression meter on it to where when it was completed in full at the end of the program, that's where we're using our CRM and seeing NFTs are great. We could see who's got it in their wallet and give them an offer for a custom jersey, which I think would have to happen at the end of this program.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool call out as well, because at the beginning of this presentation, we talked a little bit about just like extending the lifeline of the brand, right? Previously in the Web 2 space, it was all about, again, that one-way relationship. So brands would typically come in, they would just do a drop, consumers would come in, take that, and then it'd be over, right? This really is the way in which we extend forward what that program looks like into the future. And this is actually creating a future-proof mechanism, is because we've created that ecosystem where we can spin up multiple experiential touch points for then users to come in, interact with brands, and it evolves and grows over time.
And we've been working with major brands, so it's, I'm not sure exactly what the audience makeup is here, but assuming many of you are brands looking to learn about how to get into the NFT space. But as I was mentioning earlier, there are these NFT projects and from the Web3 community that over the last year were ideas, right, and projects that were birthed maybe like in a couple days to a week, and then launch, right, with the promise of we're going to make metaverse, you're going to have access to this type of utility, to this community. And for the most part, I'm sure their intentions were good, but you've probably seen that some have not, been so great, right? It's a hard thing to build, a company using NFTs. And it got me really thinking, and again, why I wanted to join this company is like, there's this hunger for the search for the blue chip NFT, right? Artifact, again, blue chip NFT, CryptoPunk, Bored Ape, Yuga Labs, even Atom Bomb Squad would be considered blue chip. And that's because they're sustained, but when you take it a step further, why is Atom Bomb Squad such a blue chip and, a stable NFT project? Because it's actually backed by a company that's been around, a streetwear brand that's been around for about 20 years, right? So they have the ability to create product. They have the ability to distribute that. They have a lot of the working mechanisms. So if you're, again, a traditional brand here in the audience, you have a lot going for you that gives you an advantage more than NFT projects that are just coming up and being born now. You have distribution, you have audiences, you have media channels, you have the ability, you probably have product, right? And it's not so difficult to figure out what's a very unique and captivating experience that we could give to our fans, our super fans, or cultivate those super fans using NFTs as a limited, the opportunity to have this, prioritized access to this brand above all other memberships that might be pre-existing. You could look at, whether that's hospitality, airline, hotel memberships that get you points. There's this ability for them to evolve into this, a Web3 space that makes those memberships more. Just like I think we were mentioning, like
we have the badges. Every time that meter went up on the Cavs locker, the badge upgraded to a different tier of fan.
Yeah, you could keep upgrading, you could keep
rookie,
flaunting it.
all-star.
They have those access to seats, to merch, to jerseys, to potentially even players. So that's what as we talk to these brands and create their NFT strategies is, what do you got? You got lots of great stuff. How do we use it to our advantage and to reward and provide that to our NFT holders who are now community members? And it's a really important thing to think about because you're probably sitting on a treasure trove. It's just a matter of how you execute that using NFTs and even developing your own kind of wallet strategies as a brand.
Yeah, no, I love that. And actually, you kind of went through all these questions just talking to them, which is more helpful actually than just asking them outright. But number 3, I love. What are the key parts of any brand experience you create? To Andrew's point, like if you're a brand, you exist already, and you have a product, you have a service, right? What are the key parts of that? And then to Andrew's point, like you have that already, right? And use metaverse experience, gamification to bolster that and pump that up to 100, right? And do it in an authentic, creative, interesting way. All right, cool. So we're going to swap out a few people, and we're just going to add 2 more people to the panel real quick in the time we have left. Whoever wants to, we just need 2 slots open. So the last part of it is often brands come to us and in terms of soup to nuts building out a project, it's the ideation, it's the what is the design, what are these pieces going to be, and then the next step, which we talked about, is like what is the experience, what is the game, how are we going to make this fun and tangible and engaging, and then kind of the last piece is to Andrew's point is how do we execute? How do we deliver these things? And delivering via live broadcast was pretty cool, right? Seeing Savannah Guthrie and Hoda say, as everybody's, on Thanksgiving morning at 10 o'clock, waiting for those apple pies to like come out of the oven, right? All of a sudden they're like, hey, you can get your NFTs here, right? So live broadcast was a kind of cool way to distribute NFTs.
I screamed very loud when I heard that. I was very excited.
It was,
It's happening.
So anyway, do you get introduce yourself, and then we can kind of talk through activation and delivering.
Perfect.
Sure. Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Hey guys, my name is Lauren Summerford. I'm the Director of Client Success at Suite. I've been at Suite for about a year and a half or so, and I love it. I love that my job every day is to wake up and make clients' dreams come to life. Like, I can't think of anything better to do. Max, take it away.
For sure. Well, that's a tough one to follow, but my name is Max Charlton. I am a Client Success Manager at Suite. Relatively new, been on the team for about a month, but loving it so far and excited to be here. So we are going to dive into the social campaign component of things. At Suite, we had the pleasure of working with OnePlus, which is a service provider for cell phones across the U.S. Specifically, what we did with them was we enacted a program that was really engaging with their biggest fans, most loyal fans in regards to their products. So we really brought those to life through NFTs. From a social standpoint, we tapped into their most loyal and devoted fans, and we found a way to really make them, bring them into the fold and create brand ambassadors that can really take the brand and what you're trying to do and run with it. You want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole point of social activation is to make it so easy and tangible for your most devoted followers to really get in the NFT game. I know we're going to be limited on time, so we're going to try to get through all these. So in arena activation, this one is actually so close to my heart because my background is in the music industry. And as I was walking in with Caleb earlier, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been in here before for a show about 7 years ago. So it's just so fun to be back here. But in-arena activation is such a fun one. So this past NBA season, we worked with a few different teams. One of them was the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we did so much on site to really get those Cleveland fans just pumped up about NFTs. So Jason and I went out to Cleveland, I think in February, when it was very cold, and we're trucking through the snow, and we were greeting fans as they came in. We're like, hey, we've got this thing called My Cavs Locker, and you can unlock it and fill it with these t-shirts. And the more you collect, the more you can unlock additional rewards. And so we had fan activation stations throughout the venue. So Jay was at a door, I was at a door, we had another individual welcoming people. We had screens up in the, I think they call them a concourse, but screens up, we were handing things out, like really drilling down on that hand-to-hand combat. So if someone came up to me and was like, wait, what is this? Like, and Zach from our team, he might be in here somewhere, was also there of just like explaining, this is what an NFT is, this is why you want to get in the game, and this is why it's awesome. And so we were able to help people get their Suite wallet set up and start collecting. We also had QR codes on the Jumbotrons there, which was a great time at halftime to really encourage folks, get your Cavs Locker, get these t-shirts, you don't know what you're gonna get. And what was awesome about it is over time, specifically with the Cleveland Cavaliers, we would have surprise and delight moments with some of these assets or some of these NFTs you could add to your locker. So there was one game in particular, we chose 4 fans at random who got courtside seats, like Dan Gilbert's courtside seats for a Cavs game. Like, it doesn't get any cooler than that. So just that kind of like IRL utility that you can execute in venue, whether it's those side court seats, whether it's varsity jackets, merchandise, it just adds so much value. And by being able to be in venue, you really are targeting the people who love your brand the most. We did some similar campaigns with Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks and a lot of in-stadium activation, even like in the cup holders. We had some of our team fly up to Milwaukee, again, in the snow. We always do this in the snow. And just literally going through the arena and putting a little insert in every single cup holder, but it goes to that hand-to-hand combat, like really engaging people on a very, very personal level. Max, do you want to take it on live broadcast?
Yeah, totally. And piggybacking off your points, I think it's also important to mention that as you further personalized that entry point, which was that QR code, as you put that in the seat holder and brought that closer to the fan, we saw those numbers go up, which was super interesting to follow. And we actually broke the record for QR code scans at MSG, which was awesome.
Exciting.
So shifting into the live broadcast, I know you guys have learned what we did with Macy's, which was super exciting. One thing that we learned throughout that campaign was we were tapping into a new demographic and a new audience, and an older demographic of users that were tuning into that live broadcast. Many of whom were not millennials and Gen Z, who were probably sound asleep at that point. So what we did was we released 9,500 NFTs, sold out within 30 minutes. It was in partnership with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, so all of the proceeds were actually benefiting Make-A-Wish. And just to the point of live broadcasts, it really brought to the fold that idea of reaching our audience in a bunch of different touch points, which we learned throughout that campaign.
Okay, last thing we're going to touch on in this area is the NFT Marketplace. So I'm sure by now you are well aware of Suite and the Suite Marketplace after the past 45 minutes. So we've got our Suite.io Marketplace, which is a really, really easy to use, robust marketplace. And that's where you can go to find all things Suite that you're looking for, whether you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, a Macy's fan, the list goes on. But we also have the ability to build out these custom marketplaces for our brands. So we've got Red Envelope Project up here. You can find something similar from McLaren Racing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But what we did particularly with Red Envelope that you see up here is this is a project by Edison Chen where he curated, I believe it was 8 artists, and they came together for 8,888 NFTs. And they were all minted on Ethereum. And so you'd come in and you'd claim your red envelope. It was for Chinese New Year. Claim a red envelope for pre-sale access. And then you had to get this special white list to be able to get one of these hyper-limited NFTs. And it just created a really unique fan experience. And I think it did a really great job catering to the art enthusiasts that really wanted high-quality art in their wallet. Like, yes, the IRL components are very important, and especially like with the Cavs we just talked about, people want that. But this one in particular was so fun because it just focused on this incredible artwork. And we've also done similar things with McLaren Racing. We've got McLarenRacingCollective.com, which you can see where we kind of blew up. I think Caleb was talking about it earlier, the MCL 35 and golf livery. And it just creates a central hub for your most devoted fans to go and like look at their wallet. What pieces are they missing? What can they do? What can they collect? What did they miss out on? They need to go sell or trade for. And so that's just another great touch point of engaging your most loyal consumers and bringing new consumers into the game.
So we have to finish up here. I was told we'd be done. I told them we'd be done sooner. So just real quick to kind of finish off, so we don't. Maybe they have a shepherd's hook or something. I don't know. But just some practical questions in terms of like activation and distribution. How do you activate your fans, and how do you get NFTs out there? And I think it comes down to kind of the theme that we've been talking about: is what makes the most sense for your brand, right? What is it that you do each and every day? So, and then what are your resources? The Cavaliers have a giant Rocket Mortgage field house, right? The locals call it something else. I forget what they call it, but like they have this huge thing, and like the CTO of the Cavaliers owns this amazing marketing engine. He's like, hey everyone, go buy Budweiser at the bar, and they go, right? Go buy NFTs, and they do, right? And so, what resources do you have? What broadcast methods? One of the other things that was kind of cool about the Cavaliers is like we have someone on the team who lives in Cleveland. He sent us a screenshot of a local broadcast of the game, and they had actually thrown up a QR, like unbeknownst, like it was just like they just have access to resources. So, or do you have people? right? Some of the brands we work with have well-known people who are on the team who are actively talking about the brand, actively talking about the space, and they're putting those people forth as influencers to engage them around the projects they're putting out. And I guess I'll skip to the last and final point. How can NFTs create a unique brand experience for your brand, right? Something that's different that you haven't had before. Yes, we know what social media was, and that was cool, but how can NFTs give your users, your fans, your audience something that they've never had before? And I think that, like, at the heart of this kind of hour-long discussion is really that. Right? How can you leverage NFTs to really engage your fans, your consumers, your audiences in ways that never have been done before? And I think that's why we're all of us here are into this space and excited about this space. So thank you for your time, and thank you for indulging us and letting us kind of have this conversation. Hopefully it was helpful.